What's going on, y'all? It's GumGumTCG here, back again with another episode of Deep Dive. Today we're going to be looking at the new green-black Issho leader. This leader's really cool. It just came out of OP04. However, people aren't trying to play it as much as I think they should be. I think this leader is really cool. It has a really cool effect and a really cool color combo that can allow for some really cool deck building, and that's what I want to talk to you about today. We're going to take a look at a lot of cards that I think will be really good in an Issho deck list, and then we're going to look at 3 deck lists. One that's a competitive tournament winning deck list, and then 2 more that I cooked up that could be some fun options for you to try out. So let's go ahead and get right into it. But first, I do want to say, if you haven't checked it out already, make sure to go check out my merch in the link in the description below. I have all my homies hate Red Decks hats and shirts for sale, and I will have other merch for you all to purchase here soon. I also want to shout out Dueling Guard. If you haven't heard of Dueling Guard, they are the best TCG accessory company on the market. They make anime inspired TCG accessories such as binders, deck boxes, playmats. Oh my god, they are amazing. If you haven't checked them out, go check them out before they sell out again. I'll leave a link to their website in the description below, as well as code GUMGUMTCG you can use for a discount at checkout. What? You haven't heard of Dueling Guard? Dueling Guard is the best TCG accessory company on the market. They have high quality deck boxes, binders, and playmats made for people who enjoy playing and collecting trading card games in style. They have tons of designs based off of fan favorite animes such as One Piece, Bleach, Full Metal Alchemist, and many more. They hit the ground running earlier this year, making high quality TCG accessories with beautiful designs that have sold out many times. So if you haven't picked up any of their products, make sure to do so before they sell out again. I have a few deck boxes and playmats from them already and can attest to how they don't cut any corners when it comes to quality, performance, and design. I highly recommend their products and use them every time I play cards. Be sure to check the description below for a link to their site and use code GUMGUMTCG for a discount at checkout. Alright y'all, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this. So let's talk about the Issho leader for just a second. I'm going to go over these cards. However, a lot of them are older cards, and I'm not going to go super in-depth with them. Just give you a couple reasons why I think they're playable in the Issho strategy. So first we got the leader. He is green-black, 5k power, 4 life. He's the Navy typing, and he says, Dawn times 1, your turn, all your opponent's characters get -1 to their cost. So, nice blanket effect, gives -1 to everything, which can pair well with the other Navy cards that like to minus cost. So, that's kind of one part of this leader. The other part says, at the end of the turn, you can pay 1 Dawn and set up to one of your characters with a cost of 5 or less as active. Now, that's where this leader becomes very strong. You can pair it with certain blockers that are really nice blockers and can generate you advantage, and you can attack with them as well as set them back active at the end of your turn. So let's go ahead and get into some of these. First off, we got the Trafalgar Law 5-cost blocker. You all know and love him. Blocker bounces a card, plays another one. 6k power, you put a Dawn on him, he becomes 7k. You leave one open at the end of the turn, you can restand him. Just insanely powerful. You can generate a lot of advantage off of this card, and I think he's a perfect fit for this deck. Next, we got Eustace Captain Kidd, 8-cost, 8k. This card was a menace in the OP01 format, and I think that if you play him right, he can still be a menace today. There are new ways to deal with him, like Gum Red Rock, but when it comes to destruction or beating over it, this color combo has a secret tech that I think can help keep this card on the field and be super cool to test out. So I'm going to share that with you here in just a little bit, but I do think that Captain Kidd's a good option for this deck. Next, we got X-Drake, 5-cost, 6k. Just another one of those bodies you can put a Dawn under, swing for 7, and restand at the end of the turn. I'd rather restand a blocker. However, I think that he's extremely playable with a card we're going to talk about in a minute, Resonante, and I do think that he would be a good fit for this deck because not only is he Supernova typing, but he is also Navy typing. So if you're playing Bonnie and Brand New, he is double searchable in this deck, and that makes him very strong. Next, we got the 5-cost Yamato. This card has double attack and banish. What more could you ask for? You swing with it really big. At the end of the turn, you just restand it so your opponent can't take it out in battle. It could become really devastating. Next, we got Carrot. I do want to talk about this for just a little bit longer than the other cards. It's a 2k counter. It's not really searchable, so kind of hard to deal with there. But it's a 2k counter, 5 cost, 5k, so you can restand it, and it says at the end of your turn you set up to one of your Dawn as active. So you can expend all your Dawn while you have this on the field, and at the end of the turn, this will set one of your Dawn active, and then your Issho can use that Dawn to restand something. This basically makes your leader effect free. I think it's really cool. I haven't seen it in any lists yet, so I just wanted to toss it out there as an idea. You know, the stats aren't amazing, but I do think that it's a really cool concept to put into this deck. Next, we got Diamante, just another one of those 5-cost blockers. I mean, this card's insane. It's like a mini 7-drop kid. I think that paired with the Issho leader, it's really strong. You know, it has the effect to restand itself at the end of the turn if you have 2 Dawn active, but you're not really going to be doing that very often in this deck. You're going to rather want to restand the Dawn yourself, or who knows, you could leave 3 up at the end of the turn and you'll have 2 for an event, and then you'll use 1 for your Issho leader, and then this will restand because of its own effect. That could be really cool. Next, we got Rosinante. This card's insanely powerful, especially in this deck. I think it's really strong in this deck. You can search it with the Navy typing. On your opponent's turn, if this character's rested, your active characters with the original cost of 5 cannot be KO'd by effects. So, not your Diamante, or your X-Drake, or your Yamato, or your Law, or your Carrot, or any of these other 5 costs that we have could be KO'd by effects. And then it says, on play, you can rest this character, play a green character with the cost of 5 from your hand. So you can play your Diamante, your Carrot, your Yamato, your X-Drake, your Law. You see what I'm getting at? This card's insane in this deck, especially being searchable off a brand new. So I think it's definitely an auto include in this deck list, and it's very powerful when paired with some of these cards. Next, we got Beige. One of the versions of the deck I'm going to be showing you all is a Supernova heavy build. So Beige is just your good 1-cost green blocker. You know, he's searchable off of Bonnie. Don't need to say anything else. Kobe, 4-cost 6k beater. You can restand him with the leader effect. He's searchable off the Navy typing. Just wanted to toss him in here. Bonnie, know and love it. It's a searcher for Supernovas. Really strong card. Next, we got the 2k for Supernovas, Scratchman and Pooh. And then we got the Restand Law, which I think could be very interesting. You know, you swing with something like, I don't know, your Law and your X-Drake. Then you go Rosinante, play Law, restand X-Drake, swing again, end of turn, restand Law. Like, I don't know. Good option. Maybe not the best option, but I did want to put it in here. Basil Hawkins, I do think, is a crazy option. It's only searchable by Bonnie, but this card is so strong, and imagine it not being able to be attacked by your opponent. That's pretty crazy to me. Next, we got the X-Drake 4-cost. I do want to talk about this one a little bit more than the others because it's 5k, it's got the Navy and the Supernovas typing, so it's double searchable again. It's got a 1k counter. It says Dawn ×1 on your turn. If this character is rested, your Supernovas or Navy type leaders and characters gain 1,000 power. That's so strong. It's a blanket buff to all your characters if you play a Supernova or Navy deck. And that's all you're going to play in this deck, really. So it makes your leader 6k. It makes all your dudes 7k or 5k or whatever. Just plus 1,000 to everything is really, really strong. This is one of the best cards in this deck, in my opinion. Next, we're going to look at the black cards. Some of these are a little out there as options, but, you know, you got to try some things out. You never know what will work. And one of those things is going to be Onagumo. 5-cost 6k, 1,000 counter. If there's a character with a cost of 0 in play, this character gains Banish. Don't think it's going to come up super often. I think this would be better in something like a Smoker deck. However, I did want to throw it in here because it is a cool option that has Banish and you can restand. So, next we got 4-cost Kuzan. Crazy. Draws a card, minus cost. Just a good option for any Navy deck. Same with Kobe. 3-cost 4k, pops at 3 or less. Good option for a Navy deck. Suru, 2k counter. Gotta play it in any black deck. I think that this is an auto include in almost any black list just because it minuses cost by 2 and it also is a 2k counter and it's searchable. This card's crazy good. Next, we got the Rosinante blocker. Most of the time in black decks nowadays, you're going to want to play the Fukuro blocker. I guess in Dressrosa Rebecca deck, you don't play it. But in this list, it is searchable through brand new, and I think that it just works well. You know, it's a 2-cost blocker. You could play Fukuro if you want. I do have him down here as another good option, but sometimes you want to search your blockers. Speaking of searchable blockers, we got Hina. 5-cost 6k. This card's insane with this deck because it's a blocker, and on block, you get to choose a character with a cost of 6 or less, and that character cannot attack during this turn. Crazy. And you get to attack with it and restand it. Crazy card. Borsalino, your other crazy blocker for the Navy archetype. Of course you want to play this. 4-cost 5k. On your opponent's turn, 1,000 plus power, and it can't be KO'd by effects, and it's a blocker. Just so strong when paired with the Issho leader. Next, we got 10-cost Kuzan. I don't think you're going to see this in every list or mini lists at all, to be honest. The Issho deck isn't really super big on the minusing cost and exploding kind of gameplay like Smoker was, but did want to toss it in here. It looks like I missed Sakazuki. Sakazuki, it's definitely playable in here. Let me grab him real quick. Sakazuki's definitely playable in here. You know, it just KOs a 5 or less, which is extremely strong. You can't restand them, but I think it would be a good option to play at least a couple of them if you're playing a Navy build. Next, we got Issho character. Definitely think it's playable in this deck in the Navy build. 8-cost 9k. Dawn times 1. All your opponent's characters get -3. Then you pair it with the leader effect that gives -1 cost 2. That's -4 to everything. And the hand rip effect of this card. It's just insane. Definitely a good pick. Virgo, another searchable Navy card. 5-cost 5k, 2k counter. Cannot be KO'd in battle, so you wouldn't have to restand this, but just wanted to toss it out there as another 2k option. Fukuro, can't be KO'd, blocker, really strong. Brand new, gotta play it if you're playing a Navy build. You know, search and fill up that trash. Not really anything else to say there. I think Sabo's also a great option. Another 5-cost 6k blocker that you could restand with the leader effect, and it also makes it so that your characters can't be KO'd by card effects until the start of your next turn, and you get to cycle your hand for 2. Really strong card. Next, we got Sengoku. I think this is an interesting card because you can restand it. You get a Dawn on it. It gives -2 to everything. Makes it 7k. Pretty strong. Same with the Smoker double attack card. Just another strong beater. Has double attack, but there has to be a cost of 0 on the field, so it might be hard to reach that in this deck. Next, we got Sengoku. Kind of like a bigger Kuzan. Just gives -4 to opponent's character when you attack with it. We got Tashigi, really good 2k counter, also good for minusing costs, so definitely want to put it in here. Garp, this is a killer in this deck. Oh my god, this card is so good in this deck. 5-cost 6k, activate main, trash a card from your hand, rest this character, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less, and then you can restand it too. Menace. This card's crazy in this deck. Next, we got the Kobe from the Monkey D. Luffy structured deck. I think that this is a good card, especially if you're minusing costs. So I've seen it in a couple different Navy decks. Definitely a good option. Next, we got the 5-cost 7k Garp. Just another vanilla beater. Searchable. Here's some events. Punk Gibson, just extremely strong. I think it makes its way into almost every green list every time. One of the strongest events in the game. Gives plus 4k and rest of 4 or less. Spiderweb, also a new inclusion, I think. Gives 4k and restands a character. I think that Spiderweb's insanely strong in this deck. Next, we got Straw Sword. Just rest any opponent's character. I think that can be powerful. Ice Age, I definitely would play at least 1 or 2 in this deck just to minus cost to get some of your effects off and get rolling with some things, you know, pop them, rest them, that kind of thing. This card is what I was talking about earlier with the Captain Kidd. The Yasukani Sacred Jewel is a 1-cost black event. Counter, you can trash a card from your hand, choose up to one of your characters, and that character cannot be KO'd during this battle. So if you have Kidd on the field, your opponent tries to attack it for 20,000, you just use this and they can't KO it that turn. Well, I guess it's not that turn, it's that battle. But, I mean, I still think it's pretty strong. Next, we got Shockwave. Classic black event. Best one they got. Gotta play it if you're playing a Navy build. Great Eruption, I think, is a great option for Navy decks just because it helps generate a little advantage at the beginning of the game. It can also minus cost, and the trigger's pretty crazy to make your opponent trash a card out of their hand. And then lastly, we got the Marineford stage. I don't think this stage is amazing, but I think it could be good in this deck just because you don't have a lot of ways to minus cost. You're wanting to play more of these defensive cards and things like that. So you could play this, and when paired with Garb, you could pop a 5 or less, you know, and then you put a Dawn under your leader, and then it's a 6 or less. So I think it's a good option because you do have to have a Navy type leader for it. So just wanted to throw it in here, talk about it for a second. But that's enough looking over at the cards. I tried to run through it a little faster than normal. I know I've been getting some complaints about the deep dives being too long and too deep, but that's kind of what the series is about. You know, you want to go over everything that is a really strong option for the deck. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into some of the deck lists. All right, y'all. Here I have a tournament winning deck list from Japan. This is a really strong list in my opinion. You know, you're playing your Laws, you're playing your X-Drakes, you're playing your Rosinantes, Bonnies, and Brand News for that double searchability on certain cards. They're not playing the 4-cost X-Drake, which is shocking to me, but I do have a list that plays that here in a minute. You know, you got your 2Ks and a Poo, your minus cost and draw a card in Kuzan, your pops with Kobe and Sakazuki. You got your 2Ks in Suru, more blockers in Borsalino, searchability in Branu, more 2Ks in Tashigi. Then you got to play Punk Gibson and you got to play Ice Age. Really strong, solid list. I think if you're wanting to play Issho, especially at like a locals and have more of a competitive time, definitely play something close to this list. I think this list is very strong. It has a lot of those things that you want paired with this leader, and you can restand a lot of these characters. Rosinante is really your killer in this deck. You know, you want to play it, then play Law, bounce a Kobe, play a Kobe, pop something, then next turn attack with your Law, restand it, that kind of stuff. I hope you take this deck list and you take it to locals, and if you do, let me know how you do down in the comments below. I'd love to hear it. And if you're not subscribed, definitely make sure to subscribe. We're on the road to 500 subscribers, and we're so close. I appreciate every single one of you that does subscribe and watches all of my videos. Thank you so much. Let's go ahead and get into the next deck list. All right, like I said, I wanted to build a Supernova heavy deck list, and that's what we have here. We're going to be playing our Bonnies to search almost the entire deck, and then we are only playing a couple of really strong black cards. So first off, we got the 3 Laws, we got the 3 Kids, we got the 3 X-Drakes. I didn't want to play 4 of each of them, you know, because we're also playing Basil Hawkins. We should be able to find a 5-cost out of 8 cards and searching with Bonnie to play with our Rosinante. So I didn't want to load up on 4 and 4 of these. And then I also think 4 Kid is pretty clunky, especially when you have a searcher. So 3 is the good option. 4 Rosinante, got to max out on it. We're not searching it in this list, so definitely want to play 4 of it, try and find it, and then we can play and do our combos off of that. Next, we got the 4 Beige, the 4 Bonnie, the 4 Pooh, pretty standard. Like I said, double Hawkins, this card's a menace. And then this is the real king of the deck. It's the 4-cost X-Drake. I think this card's really strong. It's going to give all your characters that boost. And yeah, I think it's really strong. Searchable, double searchable. We're not playing the brand new though, but it's very strong. Suru for counter. You got your Borsalino for blockage. You got your Tashigis for counter and minusing cost, and these can easily be paired with your X-Drake to pop something bigger than what it originally would. You could especially pair it with like Rosinante. You go have a Tashigi on field, you use it, you rest the character, and then you give -2, then you play Rosinante, play X-Drake, and then you pop a 6 or less. Could be really strong. Next, we got Punk Gibson, searchable in this deck, really strong, got to play it. We got those Yasukani Sacred Jewels just to help protect your blockers and your kids. And then we got the Shockwave, got to play it, even if it's not searchable in this build. But like I said, this is just something that I threw together. I think it could be optimized a little bit more. If you have a list that's Supernova heavy you've been toying around with, definitely share it in my Discord. If you're not a part of the Discord, make sure to join that. I have a link to that down in the description below. We're going to be doing a box tournament once we hit 100 members for free box tournament. So make sure you get in there before we get 100. Let's go ahead and jump into the third deck list. This is going to be a Navy heavy deck list. All right, y'all, got the Navy list pulled up here, and I think this one looks really strong. You know, you got your X-Drakes, which are searchable because they are also Navy. So don't have to play Bonnie just to search them. You can just search them off a brand new, which unfortunately is not a great searcher. Only looks at 3 and trashes 2, but you could still find them off of it. Then we do have the Kuzans, we got the Kobes, we got the Sakazukis. I didn't want to max out on these just because this deck doesn't play like Smoker, you know. You're not trying to blow everything up. You don't play the 10 cost Kuzan. You're not going to have everything at 0. So I just put them in here just for some helpful removal. You're going to be playing against decks that have annoying cards and blockers. You want to be able to get rid of them somehow. We got the 4 Suru, we got the 4 Rosinante, we got the 4 Borsalino. Just got to play all those. 3 Issho, definitely want to play it in here, playing against some of these decks out like Red, Whitebeard, Zoro. They play and get massive amounts of card in hand, same with Law. So ripping some of those cards is really helpful, and then minusing their cost to get rid of their big bodies with our Kobes and Sakazukis is really helpful. Next we got brand new, got to search with them. Tashigi for more counters, and then Garp I think is one of the key pieces of this deck. Really strong. You get to attack with it, restand it. You get to use it to pop something and restand it. Just insanely strong. Then we do have 2 Punk Gibson. I wanted to play at least 2 of it. You know, it's crazy strong counter event. And then we have the 4 Shockwave, searchable, crazy strong. And yeah, that's going to round out this last list. Like I said, I wanted to try and make this deep dive a little bit shorter than the other ones and go over the cards pretty fast. A lot of these are cards that people have seen and read before. They're from older formats. There's nothing really crazy that you're playing from the new formats or the new set in here other than Rosinante. So like I said, I really hope you all enjoy this deep dive series. If you do, leave a comment down below, give this video a like, and make sure to subscribe because I will be making more of these every time a new set comes out. We still have 3 leaders to cover in this set. We have Vivi, we have Rebecca, and we have Purple Yellow Croc. So be on the lookout for those in the coming weeks. Make sure to check me out on social media. I have those all down in the description below, as well as a link to Dueling Guard. If you haven't checked them out, please go check them out. You will not be disappointed. And make sure to use my code GUMGUMTCG for a discount at checkout. Also, make sure to join my Discord and check me out on Twitch on Sundays at 7. And I hope every single one of you has an amazing week. Thank you so much for watching. And I'll see y'all on the next one. Peace.